Most workout sessions will have the emphasis of working one body part at a time. So maybe it's arm day, or it's leg day, or it's core day. Well, your body is not separate, so stop training it like it is. So join us today for our session as we look at the entire holistic part of who you are. And I dare you by the end to actually tell me if you were able to isolate anything. My guess is it's going to be a no. So let's begin today in a quadruped or an all fours position. And ideally, if you've got a wall, that would be great, or a sofa or something that you can put your foot onto in a moment. So coming onto an all fours position, and remembering that the setup is always key. So you want to have your hands placed under the shoulder line, your knees placed underneath the hip fold line. And your hands and arms will be wider than what your knees are. So if you had to put your hand between the two legs, you would have a distance of just the fist between them. And then we're going to start with a little shoulder movement. So we're going to go into a curling, a rounding, a circling. And this might feel really weird because you're not going to bend your arms, but you're going to be letting the chest drop down and push through and adding this three-dimensional circling feel. We'll go one more time around, and then we're going to pause and go in the opposite direction. So sometimes it takes a bit of time for your brain to just kick in and go, what is it that I'm trying to do? Because this doesn't feel like the normal thing that I want to try to experience. And then finding your base. Now, when we are in our base, we want wide hands. You want those shoulder blades not collapsed and dropped down, but really present on the back of your spine and ribs. From here, we're going to lower the forearms towards the floor, just letting the elbows bend to touch onto the mat and then come back up again. This is one of my favorite ways of beginning somebody into a push-up. So fold the elbows and straighten. And the reason I like doing that this way is because you keep contact with the shoulders against the rib cage. Because for most people that do push-ups, the collapse of the shoulder blades is what really lets them down. So we've got one more time as we do that motion, and then bringing yourself all the way up. From here, we're going to send our arm into a turn. I'm using my right hand as I wrap through, aiming my head with me, looking in the direction I want to go to. So if you can drop your head to the floor and your shoulder to the floor, fantastic. Come all the way up and then change sides. Now, if you can't do that and you need to just stay off of the ground surface, that's also good. But you want to make sure that you've got good strength in your supporting arm, and that you are not letting your body twist over with your movement. So twisting action, especially if you're doing this as one of your first moves of the day, can feel a little tight. So you never want to push yourself into a range that feels difficult or dangerous in your body. One more time as we spin through and then come back through to our center. We're going to take it into a classic cat or cow or curl and arch, like I like to call it. Tuck the tail under, tuck the head under, and try and keep your limbs in parallel. So your arms are lined up with your legs, and then flicking the tail back gently as you bring your chest bone forward and up. And then again, slide the tail under, start to nod the head down towards the tail, and then go in the opposite direction. Now, what you may have heard me say is moving your chest bone and not throwing your eyes up into the air, because I don't want you getting into a pattern of shortening at the back of your neck when actually we're trying to lengthen the front of the chest wall, and beneath that the organs, and beneath that the actual spine. One more time as we roll the pelvis under and then roll the pelvis away. And then finding your neutral position here. We're going to take ourselves back a little further just so that we can stretch a leg out. I've got my left leg now onto the wall. So I've got my toes pointed down, my heel in line with my bottom, and then making sure again that I don't drop between the shoulders. Head is pushed up towards the ceiling. Let's take our right arm, because it's my left leg and right arm now, reaching forward with the arm and then sweep and reach it back towards the wall. And again, bringing it to the front and taking it to the back. So as I mentioned, when you start to try and isolate the body into different segments, parts, or even muscles, you lose the whole joy of how your body is designed, created, and symphonized. And holding the position here, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little spin. So turn your foot out to the side, rotate onto the bottom leg, and then slide yourself into a position. Maybe you need to move your hand a little bit further forward so that you can feel like you can sink your bottom down and then push your bottom forward. That's going to really work this under glute. Drop your hip and then push your hip. The leg on the wall is staying straight throughout the move. You've got 2 more to go. So again, what are we doing? Are we doing a shoulder exercise, a hip exercise, a glute exercise, an inner thigh exercise? Who knows? We're here anyway. Let's send our arm all the way up and over. See if you can puff the ribs up a little bit more, tilting your head down to make a nice side bend shape. And then come back to neutral alignment and bring your arm down. You've got 4 more of these as we push the ground away, stretch and reach, and then bring yourself back upright. And 3 more. So if you're not feeling the under glute working like crazy, then you're doing it wrong, because it should be burning. It should be feeling all the things that everyone wants to feel in their sessions. But the truth is we're building strength to hold ourselves upright against gravity, to be able to be more efficient at our walking on the planet. Turn yourself around, bringing that leg down, and reset. So let's again just make sure that your knees and hips are balanced, and then stretching out the opposite leg. So now I have my right foot on the wall. You can look back just to make sure that the leg is in alignment. Often our perception of where we are in space is a little bit off. So use your eyes to make sure that your leg is in line with your hip. So my left arm travels to the front now, and then sweep it past towards the back. And again, I'm focusing on not leaning off into my hip, but I'm staying very balanced between the hand and the knee that are on the floor. And then I'm working to make sure that the back of my knee on my right is very strong and stable, and the back of the knee joint seems open. And then placing your hand down. From here, we're going to do that spin. So you turn your toes to face the other way. You alter your underneath knee, and then find your setup so that you are nice and balanced and level. Make sure your arm is supportive of you. And then from here, we're going to drop the pelvis down and push the pelvis forward. So if you didn't know this, this is also known as a squat. It may look very different to any type of squat you've ever done, but the mechanics are all the same. We've got 2 more to go. And last one. And then finding your position here, send your arm up and over, go into that side bend, reaching the top ribs to the ceiling, and then bringing everything back to balance. And again, stretch up and over, really pushing out of your underarm. Keep pushing into the wall to keep that top leg straight. Now, if you're really struggling with your under hip and keeping your leg up at the height of your hip, just drop the leg a little bit lower. Just go where you can. Even if you have to, you can drop it all the way down to the ground. You'll still get great benefit. Last time as we reach up and over, and then bringing yourself back down. Turn yourself around and bring yourself down towards the mat. So lying your body onto the floor. And let's begin with the arms. I like to have them with the hands just underneath the shoulder position. Lowering your nose towards the mat, and then breathing out. We're going to feel the front of the chest start to rise just a little bit away from the mat surface, and then come down. And I love doing these just as a primer, a start of the movement, just to feel my upper back doing the work. Many people get triggered by these kind of moves of extension because they feel it in the lower back. It's not really hurting the lower back. It's more that you are hinging perhaps at the lower spine and not getting this movement of all the vertebrae above it. Now, there are cases obviously where it's not good to go all the way up into the lower back. So if you have a stenosis, a spondylolisthesis, any facet joint degeneration, then maybe you're not going to go into the next move. Just stay with this position. The next move will take us higher. So we're going to come up into the air. You start to push through your hands, lifting the front of the body away from the ground, and then lowering yourself down. Now, it will depend on your body and your flexibility and your spine, whether you are able to go for a straight arm position, but you're not going to get a straight arm to just overly crank in the lower back. I would prefer that you maintain just a little bend in those arms as you come forward, so that you feel secure in your back body and not just hinging at the lower back. But you figure out what feels best for you. I have a sense of feeling almost like my heel of my hand is pushing forward to the front of my mat as my spine is lifting up and backward. One more time as we make our big move into an extension called swan. And then we're going to lower our body all the way back again to the ground surface. So from here, we're going to keep our arms at this right angular shape. Move the hands a little wider so they're off the side of your mat. And then begin with the front of that chest lifting off again. We hold this position and you're going to aim your forearms away from the ground and then lower them back down. So when we do this, we go multiple times. What you're trying to do is keep the wrist in line with the fingers and the forearm. So there's no bending or cracking at the wrist. This is quite intense here at the top edge of your arm. We're doing an external rotation of your upper arm, which is driven mostly by the rotator cuff muscles. And it's a small movement, but it is a very powerful movement to do. One more time, and then lower yourself towards the mat. We're going to go up again, peeling through the front of the chest, really finding your balance on those base ribs. Go with the forearms off. Now hold the forearms in that position and lift the elbows up away from the ground, and then tap the elbows down. And again, elbows fly up and elbows tap down. So are you able to do this? You should be feeling fantastic work through, between the shoulder blades, along the length of the spine. These are the postural muscles that we're looking to really strengthen, which will help us stay upright in our gravity orientation. Hands are down and then chest is all the way down. We've got one more series to do here. Bring your legs in that little bit closer if you found that they started to slide apart. Send the arms all the way back behind you, palms to face towards the ceiling. Breath in. As you breathe out, let's begin to raise the front of the chest, raise the feet, raise the arms, fly your body up, and then lower yourself back towards the mat. And then repeating that, nodding the front of the chest up. Feel like you reach down towards your feet and hover them off with the arms coming next to the side. So we don't want to take the arms so high up over our head that we lose that lift in the front of the chest. So maybe you've got range to go higher, but really try and focus on being maybe as parallel as possible with your arms towards the floor. One more time as we bring everything up. Nice strong work for our back body. And then bringing the body all the way back to the ground surface. From here, we'll just push back on towards your feet. Have a nice long stretch of your arms out in front. And then we're going to do a flip over and lie onto your back. So as we find our back body on the floor, just checking in like we did earlier with your foot position and your knee position. So we don't want to have the knees knocked together. We don't want them to be splayed apart. We want them in their own parallel tracks with each other. Parallel is not open wide to the side either. It's a really good distance. We said fist between the knees would be a good indicator. So about that level. So hands are at your side. Bridging is our game. We're starting to roll the pelvis back, lifting the spine up into the air, and then rolling the body all the way back down again. I didn't even know Bear was here, but here he is again. And again, rolling the hips up into the sky, aiming the knees forward towards the wall or whatever was in that you put your foot against earlier, and then back down. So just to amp this up a little bit, we're going to raise the pelvis, and as we do, let's stretch those arms all the way behind you. Circle the arms wide to the side and bring your body back towards the ground. And then repeating that, lifting the hips, raise the arms, and then circle the arms as your bottom comes towards the mat. One more time, raise and lift, and circle and rest. From here, let's send the two arms towards the ceiling, palms face each other. Feel the shoulders just settling down onto the mat surface. Bring your hips back up into the air, and we're going to do what we call a typewriter movement. So you're going to slide your hips towards the right, back to the middle, and across towards the left. So we're just going to do 3 at this top height, keeping the pelvis balanced, keeping the hands almost like you were holding something between your two hands, nice and balanced. Halfway down, hold the position, and again, slide to the right, slide to the left. Can you do that from the aspect of your pelvis sliding, not from your ribs doing the action? Once you've done your 3 to each side, roll everything back to the floor. We repeat the movement, but we're starting on the left. So rolling up to your top position. Make sure your head is comfortable, your shoulders are even, and let's go hips towards the left and hips towards the right. 3 times in total.
And the movement doesn't have to mean that you're trying to touch the other side of the room. It's just what can you do where you can keep your knees balanced with each other. Halfway down we go, and again to the left and to the right. So focus on what's happening at your feet, such an important part of our moves. Feeling like you've got your hip bones facing the ceiling, not dropping down side to side, and then rest your body all the way towards the mat. We're going to do one more bridge, just a normal bridge up and down. Notice if there's been any change, shift, smoothness, evenness as you do your bridge up and your bridge back down. Hello, my love. All right, from here, we're going to rest those arms down towards your side, or pull your knees towards you, I should say, and then having a little squeeze on. So you're going to begin by raising the top of the head to meet your legs, and your legs pulling down to meet your thighs with the same arm and leg. So I'm starting on my right side. Reach your arm and your leg out and away, and then circle the arm around and pull the knee back in. 3 times on this side. Nice long stretch and reach, and pulling it back. Last time as you lengthen long and draw back. Keep the head lifted, and let's go with the opposite side. So stretch back and circle and pull in. And 2 more times. Make sure your arm doesn't go behind your ear line. Your chest is still curled up. Your eyes are looking through your legs to make sure your neck is not unsupported or feel stressed. Let's bring everything down. Open the arms wide. Knees are at about a right angle position, and let's send them over to the left side. So lowering them down about halfway. Keep your hand on the floor, keep your shoulder on the ground, and then bring your legs back through the center. Send them across to the opposite way, again feeling hand rested, shoulder rested, and top knee trying to aim forward and over the bottom knee. So as we're going side to side, we want to feel that the pelvis peels off with you. It doesn't stay lagging behind. And that's why it's important to get that encouragement of your top knee to reach across the top leg. And that way you know your hips will be coming off with you. Remember to modify your range. If you know this is a trigger for you in your back body, then making sure that you don't go too low. This movement is not about getting to the ground. The movement is smooth, it is controlled. The obliques are getting a beautiful rinsing and squishing as we do our move. So if you want to stay with that version, your next attempt would be legs up straight, and then from here we go with a straight leg called a pendulum over to the side and then back to center and across towards the other side. Now you can go lower if you want to, but for me, my aim is to try and keep my hand rested, my shoulders rested. So if I try and take my legs lower, I'm going to pop my shoulder up off the mat. So I've got to go and figure out where is the range. I don't have to worry what you think. I don't have to worry what anyone thinks. I just have to feel into my own body and think that's where it feels good for me, where I'm not producing excess stress or tension into the system. One more time to each side, really feeling like I'm massaging across the back of my pelvis into my low back and my underneath gluteal muscle. And then from there, we'll rest all the way down again. Let's put your leg down, your left leg all the way down onto the mat, and bring your right knee up. So we're going to go again with the arms slightly wide, and we're going to make a little knee circle. So crossing the center line, open it around and back up. And just 2 more times. I like to start with a bent knee because it really makes you feel that the movement is happening in your hip joint. Let's go the reverse. 3 and 2 and 1. So again, we're going to do another 3 each side, but the challenge is to straighten the leg. Now, if you can't get a straight leg, go with a semi-bent knee. Otherwise, going for a nice big long reach. Let's cross the center line, go as low as you can while you can still keep your pelvis balanced. So if you had little laser beams onto your hip bones, aim them directly to the ceiling. The minute one of them or both of them start to move or shift shape, then you know you've gone too wide with your circle. And maybe you can think about the supporting leg as actually supporting you. So pushing down through the heel on that left leg, and then bringing everything back and lower the legs down. We switch sides, left knee folds in towards you, right leg nice and long. Check down, make sure the leg is in alignment. You don't want the leg rolled off to the side and turned away. So you want that straight position, just like you would be standing on the leg on the ground. Let's go 3 circles with the knee bent, exploring what your hip has available to it. And a nice cue when we do the longer lever leg is to put your hands onto your pelvis and maybe even your thumbs up onto your ribs. Sorry, I did an extra one there. Let's go the opposite way for 3 and for 2 and for 1. Let's come back to center. You choose where you want to be. It's all up to your body. Straightening the leg or to your best ability, circle around and up. So I find that when I keep my hands in connection with my pelvis and my ribs, I'm much more honest with the depth and range of my circle. Change your direction. So we're not sort of creating such a big, fast movement that we don't know how to find stability. We're doing this with as much control so that we use what's available to us. All right, let's go into a bent knee position, feet a little further forward, almost towards the edge of your mat. This one, we're going to send the arms all the way over. Nice big breath in. As you exhale, bring the arms up, curl the head and shoulders forward. Use your thighs to aim your hands up the slope of your legs and then sitting up tall. Rolling your body down, brush the fronts of your legs until you need to float them off and arms are back behind you. We'll do that sequence again. So arms are up, head curls forward, make contact with your leg bones and then roll the rest of the way up into sitting. And then as you come down, let those hands touch and brush onto your thighs and then leave them and rest to the ground. Now, if you can do this move without touching your legs, that's okay, as long as you can still create the curve through the upper body, bypass the legs, just arms off to the side, and then rolling down again. Rolling until you find that your arms are still in line with your shoulders. Don't drop your arms too low. Don't lift your arms too high. One more time as we make our way up and into the air. And then we're going to roll ourselves back and down. Now it's up to you. You can keep doing this if you want to with your feet on the floor. I'm going to ask you though, can you try it with your knees up in the air? So we're going to do our curl forward again, and as we roll through, the head comes up, the legs start to go about halfway down, and you find yourself in a balance at the back of the pelvis, and then we melt and ease the back onto the floor, and we stretch the arms behind. This is a mini teaser, and again, arms up, head curls forward, roll to the sit position, reaching the fingertips to the front, and then rolling yourself back down again and aiming the arms back behind. We've got one more and we're going to stay at the top. And then curve yourself forward, rolling up. Find your balance at the top and let's take your hands onto the insides of your feet. And then from this position, we're going to extend the right leg out and away from you and then bend it back in. So when we breathe out, we stretch the leg away. This is my left leg going. And then inhale, fold it back. And then right side as we exhale. And then inhale, bring it back. And again, stretch it out. So as the leg is stretching out, I'm not collapsing in my chest. I'm not trying to roll back. And if the leg doesn't straighten, it doesn't matter. Just do what you can, feel where it has to happen. If you're finding you can't do that, put your hands at the back of the knee and give it a stretch out instead. So there are lots of variations, lots of ways of modifying to whatever your level is at. I am mostly concerned with, are you balanced and feet away from the ground? We're going for the doubles, so I'm going with my hands on the insides of the legs again. Find something to look at in front of you and then reaching the double legs out and long and then folding the legs back in. Now, not everyone is going to feel like this is achievable. Do what you can. If you fall backward, that's okay. Come back up again. One more time as you reach the legs up and out. And then bringing yourself all the way through, cross your legs over. And let's come into a side sit. So let's sit with our two knees close to each other and an arm out to the side. Send your arm to the ceiling and we're going to do a thread the needle again. So looking toward the back and then bringing yourself up towards the ceiling. And again, twist and turn back and then arm back up to the ceiling. Most important is that you're not collapsed like you're on the phone talking with your shoulder. One more time, twist and lift. And then let's go and do that on the other side. I love doing things where we swing the legs around and don't make contact with the ground. My mat just moved. Anyway, that'll be okay. So from here we go out and then twist through and arm back up to ceiling. And two more times, thread and lift. And then one more time through and back up toward the top. All right, that is us for today.
What did we do? We moved your entire being. We went through a rounding, an arching, a side bending, and a rotating. And honestly, that's all it needs to be. You don't have to separate body parts into just different zones. Like I said, everything connects with everything else. So it's impossible to have just one isolation of a muscle group or a body part. I hope it inspires you to start to train a little bit more holistically in your workouts. Remember, I have a playlist here which has got hundreds of videos for you to have a go with, and you'll see that all of our sessions are holistically based, meaning we use everything all the time. We hope you have a great day. We hope you enjoyed the content. If you'd like it, remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and we look forward to bringing you more stuff soon. Bye for now.